Hey, how's it going, everybody? Sarasota Tim coming to you from the beautiful Boynton Beach, Boynton Inlet. And I thought this would make a nice background for you guys while we talk a little bit this evening. And I grilled out some baby back ribs. We've been enjoying ourselves all day. I did the weed eating. Maybe you guys saw the video. Worked my tail off on that one. And then we went shopping and got some food, and I had some ribs I had to make. And so we've been cooking those. I used a few tips from my subscribers talking about wrapping them in aluminum foil. And then I took them out, put the barbecue sauce on them. Anyway, we're just having a good time, and we're letting them rest right now. But we were down here last night about this hour, and the sky was amazing. I might make another video after this on the other side, because that's the west, and that's where the sun sets. And it was all orange and everything. It was beautiful. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight was, we read the comments. I told you I read the comments. I love the comments. Tammy loves the comments. We share them back and forth. Did you read this one? We read the replies within your comments. And I thought, let me make a video and say one more time, regarding the video I made the other day standing in front of the service department at Toyota, not at Walmart. We were talking about collecting Social Security at 62 because, you know, you want to live your life. You want to be healthy, and you don't want to wait and then maybe, God forbid, something happens and your health goes down, or your mental aging changes and you don't want to do certain things. So what gave me another idea to talk about, to encourage you, is I want to use the analogy, or at least use a reference, of Paul Reubens. Do we know who Paul Reubens is? Pee Wee Herman, right? He just passed away a couple of days ago. Sad loss. He was 70 years old, and he actually had cancer and dealt with it for 6 years. So I thought, he's in that age bracket where the average age, as I said, was about 73 years old for a male. He contracted his cancer apparently around 64 and died at 70. And for 6 years, can you imagine if you were in his shoes, that you were cognizant every single day that you had something that could take you down, that it was going to take you down, that it might take you down, and you had to deal with this. Your life is short, that you went through chemo, all these things that you do. Your days of going around and just having a good time and a ball and not being oblivious to when your day would be called home to heaven. He had to know that his day was going to come sooner than later. And what a terrible thing. You know, some people die suddenly. Unfortunately, he had to go through 6 years of hopes, and it finally took him. And this is my point, that it really, I don't want everybody out there to be stuck so much on the math about regarding collecting your Social Security and starting to live your life at 62. We already know, folks, that if you are someone that makes a lot of money and you love your job, you don't need it. It would absolutely be a waste of your time, because they would just take it back. You couldn't collect it anyway. So, but I say, if you've made so much money already up until that point, and you've been making good money, and you obviously might have low debt because you've been making such great money, or if you don't have a lot of money, do you know the average income is only 60 grand for every single working person in this country? 60 or 65,000. I Googled it today. That's not a lot of money. That's gross income. So most people that talk to me about not retiring at 62 because that's not enough money, well, I don't think $60,000 is a lot of money either. It's more than the $20,000 that I'm making. But remember, I can make another 21,000 plus. So that's 40-something thousand. And I'm in a lower tax bracket. So the monies might be negligible. But again, I don't want you to be stuck on the math. I want you to think about the quality of life. Tammy and I took a trip over to Sarasota. We had a great time. And it had been a long time since we had gone out of town and gotten a room like that, and especially a room like that. I've been a Motel 6 guy most of my life. I don't mind telling you. I always said, hey, once you turn the light out, get into bed, you don't know if you're in a $300 room or a $30 room. Well, that's not really entirely true, because the last time Tammy and I went over to the West Coast and got a room at a Motel 6 in Venice, Florida, to see one of her girlfriends play in a band. We had people drinking beer and raising Cain right outside our door. Our door really wouldn't lock well. Obviously, it didn't look anything like that Hampton we had. So my point is, we felt like we were rich. We were living. And it kind of gave us a kind of an epiphany. We thought, why not, live every day you can like this? Why not, start enjoying your life more? Why wait once a year or every several months before you go and you get a room somewhere and enjoy yourself, or take a trip or whatever? So if you were to retire at 62 and only have to work half as often with your job and already have half of the money coming in from Social Security that you gave up, and then you worked a little bit, but you weren't working 40 hours a week, and you had the time to live life, live and enjoy. We can't wait to do it again. And I'm going to go do my little side hustles and pass out my samples and make my little bit of money. And I'm going to go back and see if I can get that Hilton Honors member price again, and even get that same upgrade. And we want to go back over there. Or maybe this time we want to go to Clearwater or Daytona or somewhere else in Florida. But being out of town and living life, we haven't stopped talking about it. And if you go months and years and you don't do stuff and you don't live your life, and you have this mundane circle where you're just chasing your tail, every day is the same thing. It's to work, to dry cleaner, pick up the kids back, or if you are approaching retirement age, your kids are grown, and you're just doing the same little circle every day. The schedule, you can just set your clock to yourself. Why not start living? Because folks, think about it. I don't want to scare you. I worry about it for myself. We're at the age, like a car, once they get so many miles on them, things can happen. Paul Rubens, probably 6 years earlier, woke up one day and went, what is this? Something doesn't feel right. I need to go to the doctor. And it wasn't good news. And that could be tomorrow. Or worse yet, you could be hit by a bus. You just don't know, folks. You have to consider this. You can't assume, like we did when we were young, that life is forever and you don't ever have to worry about it. You have to think, all right, you spent the first part of your life growing up. The next part of your life, you worked in that prison job. Yes, I call it a prison. A lot of them kind of are. Mine really wasn't, because I worked for myself. But I just say that as a joke. Because when I was in the car business, it was a prison. So you worked all that time. You slept, you ate, and you made money, and you had bills. You bought a home, you bought cars, you work. Then you get to this point where you can live. And some people want to keep going and pass that final window that possibly could be your last shot. And they're like, oh no, I can get at full retirement age $700 more money. Or if I go to 70, I can get another 1,000. I mean, what are you going to get when you get this extra money? What are you going to be able to do when you are using a walker, or you're moving slower, or you need a hip replacement, or your mind is like, I don't want to do that now. I don't want to take trips and go get rooms or travel in a camper or do whatever. You just start slowing down. So my encouragement tonight in this video is simply, get your Social Security at 62 if you can. Get yourself out of debt prior to being 62 so that you can work and have a side hustle and make money. But in between all those days that you don't have to work, that you're off now, don't just sit at home. Don't do what you want to do. Whatever blows wind up your skirt, do it. Live. Look back and say, I have no regrets. I did what I wanted to do. It was fun. We did this, we did that. Maybe it's going to Disney World. Maybe it's going to visiting people you haven't seen. Write down your bucket list. Go see it. We're going to go see Tammy's grave. That's a joke. Tammy's father's grave in Statesville, North Carolina. And I haven't seen my daughter in a long time in North Georgia. And there's no reason being, off days and days within between, a few hours a week as a side hustle, that I shouldn't go see my daughter, that she shouldn't go and see her father's grave. Or we couldn't go to North Carolina, as she says, and get some barbecue. And when we get back, we're not going to have any regrets, just like this little jaunt we took over to Sarasota. We don't have any regrets. Plus, you don't know when you start living and doing these things what God will do and how many doors he might open, how many nice people you might meet. Like I met Elvis over there on St. Armand's, and I was able to help him out. Or just meet new friends, on your travels, somebody that you might want to see in a few months again and go back up there or wherever you're doing. I'm just talking about what I want to do, but you can think of your own ideas. But the point is, folks, live your life. Make that the most important thing besides getting rid of all that clutter. Stop watching the media. Right now they're wanting to pound us, right? Because it's going to come an election year. They're trying to sucker people in. You'll see it on your phone. Then you'll be curious and they'll sucker you in and you'll start looking at it on TV. Then you'll get all uptight again. And then you'll be grounded wanting to sit there afraid you're going to miss something. When if you stop watching it, you can turn it back on a month from now and they're saying the same thing they did 30 days ago. It's the same thing. Stop watching it. Clean out your clutter. Pay off your debt. Take those extra dollars you're making or you have and pay off some debt. And be prepared to start crushing it.